Nerd Morning, everyone. My name is Jeremy. I'm with my brother John, and this is the Nerd Morning Show. Today, we're going to be talking about My Hero Academia, and I specifically am interested in talking about how this is a great bridge between, anime and comics, and those two worlds, from the Western, culture and ideas, and the more, Asian culture, and they just tell stories in a little bit different way.
Very differently.
And I think that My Hero Academia is a really good jumping on point if you're wanting to get into manga, if you're wanting to get into anime, because it is talking and having a conversation through the story of kind of this Western superhero genre, and also kind of the superhero elements that they have in a lot of the Japanese anime and manga stories.
So, My Hero Academia is very much a shonen or a young man's anime. It is a very classic style that they have where you have a hero who gets some absurdly powerful force that they have
Which is
to learn,
very,
master.
very, common. You've got a Naruto, that's
like
totally a
Naruto
thing.
with the Nine Tails, Goku just being a Super Saiyan.
Right.
You have
it's
Deku here in My Hero Academia with
very common mechanic and trope.
the thing that's fun about My Hero Academia as opposed to those other ones is it does very much draw off of American comics and the way that superheroes
This is the superhero motif, because in Naruto it is ninjas, and that's ultimately Japanese, right? And you've got these superpowers, but again, it's not really in any way that they're superheroes. It's just a part of their culture, of that sub story. That's just kind of how things go. And here they talk about them as superheroes. They have powers that they talk about in how you use them to combat crime, and you've got super villains. This is a dynamic that seems very clear to the Western comic experience.
Yeah, it's also kind of unique in its own way as well, because in the My Hero Academia universe, about 80% of the world population at this time has a superpower.
Right.
It could be a very dumb superpower. It could be the weird superpower where for some reason you just give immortality to, let's say, your beta fish. Right?
So this is something we've debated up in the past of what if we had superpowers, and
I've had super dumb.
But exactly, and they're I've got this beta fish that I had for 10 years or something like that, and it just wouldn't die.
It wouldn't die.
And it was great because I had this long living fish that was a great pet. But that was something that you'd say about me. That's your superpower. But honestly, yeah, some of these powers are weird, are bizarre. For me, I'm how does that work? That doesn't make sense. And honestly, I feel a lot of Japanese anime powered characters have weird powers.
Some of them really
I think
do.
it's kind of
Froppy is basically her superpower is being a frog.
Honestly, that one wasn't super weird to me because we've had Toad in X-Men. It's characters that literally dematerialize into 300 pieces, and they can move all aspects of their body. I'm just holy cow, that's a lot for your brain to handle or deal with. But they also have more common type things like super strength, flight, or other type of elements like that, firepower, ice power, these elementals that seem to be pretty transferable between cultures.
People who have kind of exceptional powers or refined their powers, they become the heroes of My Hero Academia.
Where other people, they might help it to push the shopping carts and their regular job or something like that. They'll be able to figure out how to maybe use it, but there are a few exceptional people who've chosen to pursue their powers in a way to be able to be a hero.
And that very much is a huge influence on My Hero Academia. You can see a lot of the American influence on the show directly through All Might himself.
Yes, he's intentionally like that.
Yeah, he, as a character, was intentionally a character who they had highly inspired by America. He in his backstory, what even was sent to America to train and become basically an American superhero for a while before he moved back to Japan to eventually try to fight a All for One again.
Yeah.
And
so he's got moves that he names after states or big cities or things like that. And honestly, I think it's really entertaining because that is something that's very like manga slash anime. I don't know why they always have to be like
Super Death Punch number 3,
right? Or breathing technique, number 4, and with the sword, or shadow clone jutsu, or like like they
Yes.
have to do they have to tell you what they're doing as part of that. They don't just like do a move and be like, oh man. And like I don't know exactly why that mechanic exists. Like I have theories.
It is
but
the
it's a
classic
thing. It's
anime
totally a
trope
thing
of yell your super move while you
right?
do it.
And so they do that here. And they give him these moves where he's like Detroit Smash or something like that, where it's named after a city in America.
Yeah,
and I think it's so funny.
And this is the sole reason for that is because it was inspired by American comics.
Yeah. And with that, we have like a supervillain and like an evil League of Evil kind of an element. And we've got these heroes that are ultimately teenagers who are training and learning how to be heroes, kind of like the Xavier School.
A little bit. Ultimately, it's one of those high school animes.
Yes, it is. It's a high school anime. And that's why this thing bridges this gap, I think, so well, because I can go, hey, yeah, here's all these different parallels to the traditional Western comics, and then here's how it connects to all these anime and mangas, and it really links both of those things in a fantastic way. So I think this is a really good jumping on point. If you're like, hey, I've been hearing a lot about anime, I've been hearing a lot about manga, I feel like I would love to be able to get into that, but I don't know anything and I want one that I'm going to be able to like get. This one I think is a perfect pick for that.
Especially if you like DC. You were mentioning how My Hero Academia specifically has a Heroes Association, which is essentially Justice League, and a League of Villains, which is basically like Legion of Doom.
Yeah, in that comparison, this is like the Teen Titans group or the Young Justice that are learning and developing to be able to be the new heroes.
This is highly relatable and something that if you love comics, you'll be able to jump into this show and you'll feel very comfortable watching this show, and it's not going to be a baptism of fire into anime. This is
something that I think is really approachable.
It is very approachable.
Overall, what is your feeling about this show?
I really enjoy it. The whole thing is very entertaining. It is very good about keeping stakes high when it needs to. It is very good at having some chill moments because, let's face it, they're still kids.
Yeah.
They're still doing dumb things all the time. You still have your little bully that you have to deal with, like Bakugo.
Yep, who I kind of absolutely love. At first I was like, oh man, but he grows on you. He's still totally the bully.
He's kind of a jerk, but then you kind of realize why he's a jerk is he's that's kind of how he feels about being powerful, and he wants to be powerful to save people. So he's a jerk with a good heart.
Well, yeah, maybe.
At least he has an explosive personality.
Yes, that we can agree on. Yeah. So I think this is a fantastic show. And this is one that I think is probably in my top 5 right now. I don't just think is a good bridge, but I just think is a good story and a good experience. So that's kind of my take. If you guys have seen this, what do you guys feel about this show or manga? And do you guys think that this is a good bridge? Do you think there's another one that blends the kind of the two different cultures even better? Let us know all those in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out my other channel, my gaming channel, which is Nerd Morning Gaming here on YouTube as well. And also check out more Nerd Morning content on places like TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Nerd Morning. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.